You ever get that feeling, about money where it feels kind of confusing, maybe even a bit worrying?
Oh, absolutely. People wonder, is my money actually safe? Is it like tied to gold somewhere?
Mhm.
Or how does the stock market going up and down affect me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you hear about, currency values changing in other countries and you think, okay, wait, how does that impact my wallet? If
Huh?
any of that sounds familiar, well, you're definitely in the right place today.
For sure. Because in this deep dive, we're not going to get totally lost in complex global finance.
Right.
Instead, we're looking at a really fascinating perspective on money. It comes from a little booklet by Raymond Charles Barker.
Marker.
Okay, he was a major figure in the New Thought movement, specifically religious science. Worked with people like Charles Fillmore, Ernest Holmes, very influential thinkers. And his ideas on prosperity, still really relevant.
And Barker, he didn't mess around, did he? He got straight to a core idea, the one we're really going to unpack today,
Mm-hmm.
which is money is God in action.
Right. And that phrase alone, it can sound a bit jarring, maybe, unexpected.
Definitely. It might challenge what you already believe, but stick with us, because getting what Barker meant by that, well, it could really shift how you think about prosperity.
A powerful reframe. The big takeaway right up front is money isn't just cash or digits. It's this dynamic force, and maybe its origin is deeper than we usually think.
Yeah, exactly. Because so many people, we kind of absorb this idea that money is negative,
Hmm.
or that wanting wealth is somehow, I don't know, unspiritual.
That old saying, right, about money being the root of all evil, which often gets misquoted anyway.
Right.
Barker just tackles that directly. And we're going to break down his argument so you can see this other way of looking at your finances. The crucial thing here is maybe questioning that negative vibe around money is like the first step.
Yeah, the first step to experiencing it differently. We're not just talking about your bank account as some static number. It's about money as something active, something that's supposed to flow. Okay, so let's get into it. Barker starts with the universe itself.
Yeah, and this is key. Barker sees the universe as fluidic, constantly moving, adapting, changing. It's energy expanding, intelligence finding new ways to create.
Fluidic, okay.
So just like the universe is always in motion, always creating, the idea is that our financial lives are also meant to be dynamic, not stuck.
Right, right. So if the universe is about flow and change, he applies that directly to prosperity. It's not a fixed pile of cash. It's a flowing thing.
Precisely, a flowing thing, an ongoing cycle. He even uses the body's circulatory system as an analogy.
Okay. Like blood flow.
Exactly. Your pulse shows the rhythm of circulation, right?
Yeah.
Barker saw similar pulse beats in the economy. He points to the stock market, for instance.
As an indicator of that flow.
Yeah, buying, selling, it's all movement, exchange. It shows that circulation happening on a larger scale.
Okay, and then he brings that big picture right down to the individual. So for the listener, prosperity isn't how much you have, but the circulation of money in your world.
That's his definition. He says it's the ability to do what you want to do at the instant of time you want to do it.
Wow. Okay, that shifts things. It's about the now, not just the future balance.
It really does. It takes the focus off just, hoarding for someday and puts it on meeting your immediate needs and desires. Think about it. If you have enough right now for essentials and something you want to do right now, Barker says you're prosperous, regardless of the savings account.
Which brings us back to that whole money is evil idea we mentioned. That's been around a long time in religious thinking, hasn't it?
Oh, for centuries. Lots of teachings warning about wealth, how it can be dangerous, lead to sin, that sort of thing.
But Barker just flips that right over. He asks a really simple question, doesn't he?
He does. It's quite direct. If money is so bad, why does basically everyone want a raise or a better income?
Yeah, it doesn't quite add up if you truly believe it's like this corrupting force.
It makes you check your own assumptions, right? Barker argues, look, in our modern world, money is absolutely vital. It's how the economic system circulates. It's essential.
The lifeblood, you said.
Exactly. And because it's so vital for society's well-being, he says it must be, at its core, a spiritual idea, not an evil one.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. He talks about a principle. What we love increases.
Yeah. Anything we love increases, and anything we criticize moves out of our lives. So if you're constantly thinking negatively about money, seeing it as bad, you're actually pushing it away.
So your attitude literally affects whether it shows up for you.
That's the idea. Your focus matters. Barker says the very first step to abundance is to consciously choose to love money.
Love money. That still sounds a bit radical to some ears, maybe.
It can, but he clarifies why. It's not about greed. It's because he sees money as the means which God is using at the present instant to maintain a circulation in your world of economics.
Ah, okay. So loving it means appreciating its role in this divine flow.
Exactly. Recognizing it as the tool God, or the universe, or divine intelligence, whatever term resonates, that is using right now for economic movement.
Okay, God's circulation. So money is the method God uses right now to keep things moving financially.
That's the concept. It's the current instrument, the mechanism for energy to manifest economically in this moment.
Which means you shouldn't hoard it, because that would block the flow.
Precisely. He warns against that.
Yeah.
He has this analogy, calls it the Joker in the deck.
The Joker, what does he mean?
Basically, if you pile up huge sums and just sit on it, restricting its flow, eventually you pass on, and maybe relatives you barely knew get it all. The flow finds a way, but your intention of just holding it gets bypassed. It emphasizes keeping that energy moving.
So keep it circulating, not just for the big economy, but for your own financial health too. He connects our personal flow to the universe being self-sustaining.
Yes, the universe is inherently self-sustaining, always creating, always replenishing. So as parts of that universe, our financial lives should reflect that same self-sustaining quality.
Makes sense.
Barker says it very clearly. No good thing is withheld from those who love God, and money is good. But the catch is, you have to really believe money is good, deep down.
Okay, so belief is huge, but he also mentions embracing financial flux. What's that about? Sounds a bit unstable.
Well, it's about being willing to navigate the ups and downs, the natural fluctuations, without freaking out. Financial flexibility.
He compared the bank balance to a barometer.
Exactly. It's just a temporary reading. It goes up, it goes down. It's not a final judgment on your entire financial future. If you stay open to the idea of money flowing in, it's more likely to. A dip doesn't have to mean permanent lack.
And a big part of staying open is subconscious conviction.
That's what Barker observed. The people with the most financial freedom often aren't constantly worried. They have this underlying subconscious belief that they'll always have enough, and usually they do. It shows the power of those deep inner beliefs.
Okay, but what about work? Most of us think money comes from hard work. End of story. Barker challenges that too.
He does. He gives examples like, say, high-powered executives. They might work relatively few hours compared to some, but earn huge amounts. Their income isn't just about hours clocked.
So it's not just effort. What else is it then?
According to Barker, the key is your conviction of your own self-worth.
Self-worth. How does that connect?
Think about asking for a raise. You can want one all day long, but if you don't genuinely believe you're worth it, that you bring that value, it's much harder to get it. That inner conviction is crucial.
Right. That reminds me of it. Didn't he connect this to Jesus' teachings, asking people, do you believe?
Exactly. He points out that when people came to Jesus for healing or help, the question often boiled down to their faith, their belief. If they had that self-conviction, the demonstration, the result could happen. He uses the feeding of the 5,000 as an example of that kind of unwavering belief making the impossible possible.
So money becomes almost a mirror, reflecting our inner conviction.
In a way, yes. He calls it a subjective conviction on the part of the individual. He encourages us to accept this idea. Money is God's idea of circulation subjectively inside ourselves, without putting limits on it. Focus on plenty, not just specific amounts.
That really hits on something a lot of people feel. That sense of always having just enough, never quite abundant.
Right. And Barker would say the universe operates on abundance. That feeling of just enough often comes from limits we unconsciously place on ourselves. It creates a mismatch between desire and reality. His advice: increase your awareness of your own value, your own worth.
Okay, shifting beliefs is key. Now, he gave a practical tool for this, a treatment for money.
Yes, a mental treatment. He saw it as the conscious mind actively working on the subconscious, aiming to overwrite those limiting beliefs we've been talking about. It's something you can actively do.
And there are some core affirmations in that treatment. Can you pull out a few key ones?
Sure. It starts by grounding you in the idea of one creative cause, God, and emphasizing the universe is packed with abundance, God's glory. Then, importantly, it affirms your receptivity to that abundance, specifically circulating as money.
Okay, being open to receive.
Yes. And clearly stating, money is God's idea of circulation. It's absolute good. It's a blessing. Crucially, affirming no fear of lack, only belief in plenty. And finally, that money flows freely as you give it or use it. it comes back increased.
He also mentions being open to unexpected sources, which is interesting. Not just salary.
Right. He tells a little story about someone doing the treatment, then turning down a free lunch. His point was, if you're asking for abundance, you need to be willing to receive it however it shows up. Accepting unexpected gifts, opportunities, it's all part of letting the circulation happen.
It all circles back, doesn't it? Loving money, letting go of negativity.
Exactly. He really hammers this. Money is a spiritual activity. It's good. Embrace it. Ditch that whole filthy lucre idea in the stock market. Yeah, it's an indicator, a barometer, like we said, but don't base your core belief in abundance on its daily swings.
Your inner conviction matters more than the Dow Jones average.
Yeah.
And worrying. Still counterproductive.
Totally. Worry just attracts more things to worry about. Barker stresses releasing money with joy, without fear of scarcity, trusting the flow.
He also warns about mental tricks, limitations we put on ourselves.
Yeah, like criticizing people who have wealth. He says that actually undermines your own prosperity because it reinforces a negative association with money in your subconscious.
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
It is. He offers a great affirmation, though. I always had enough money to meet my needs, and the infinite spirit is not going to stop my income. He insists any blocks we perceive are internal, in our own consciousness, and we can break them down.
And Brian Scott, in that YouTube clip we looked at, he had some good closing thoughts, too.
He did. He shared that powerful quote from Reverend Fosdick about a dollar being man's personal energy reduced to portable form, capable of doing good, and a quote from Job connecting obedience and service to prosperity.
Scott really drove home Barker's message, didn't he?
Absolutely. That pushing money away stems from believing it's bad. The circulating blood analogy, God in action. Don't worry about others. Focus on your own beliefs. Abundance is always there. The limits are in our minds. He really encourages people to examine any discomfort around loving money, reminding them they deserve a wonderful life.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive into Barker really offers a profoundly different lens on money. It's not just stuff. It's presented as this spiritual force, God in action, all about circulation, subjective belief, and actually loving and accepting abundance.
Which leads to a big question for everyone listening. What are your real beliefs about money? Where did they come from? Are they helping you? Or maybe, just maybe, are they accidentally blocking that flow Barker talks about?
That's such a crucial point to reflect on. And based on all this, there's some practical things people can do.
Yeah, definitely. Revisiting Barker's treatment for money, listening to it, working with it, that's a direct tool. Also, maybe exploring other New Thought writers on prosperity. Orison Swett Marden, Florence Scovel Shinn. Even Brian Scott's own book touches on these themes.
And maybe just starting simple, with an affirmation like, large sums of money come to me easily and quickly, using that daily.
Couldn't hurt. It's all about shifting that subconscious belief. And that brings us to a final thought to leave people with. If money really is God in action, as Barker suggested, how might engaging with it consciously, with love, acceptance, generosity, how might that actually amplify that divine action in the world?
Wow, that's
Yeah.
definitely something to mull over.